And above all, I'm an esports athlete myself. My go-to games are like Clash Royale and Call of Duty. I had represented India during the Call of Duty World Championships, which were held in 2018 in New Orleans. And yep, have been instrumental in the terms of, India winning medals in events like Asian Games. I don't know how many of you present here know that esports is now part of Asian Games as a medal sport. It started in 2018 as a demonstration title. In 2018, India won a bronze medal, our esports, and that was India's first medal in event like Asian Games. And subsequently in 2022, again esports was part, but because of COVID, it got delayed.
Yes.
And again this year in 2026, esports is again medal sport in Asian Games, wherein India would be participating in 8 video game titles.
That was really wonderful to hear about from you. So next we have Gitesh Singh. Please.
Hello everybody. My name is Gitesh. I have formerly represented India on the world stage at World Cyber Games in 2011. And this was for the game Asphalt 6. And many of the new gamers who are playing Valorant maybe would not be familiar with this game. But back in the day, not a lot of people were very interested in gaming in general. And in 2011, you can imagine with no as such eyeballs on YouTube and Instagram, and short form content was not breaking out. So it wasn't as big a thing back in the day, but today with the platforms that exist, we are getting a new voice. Thank you so much, Aniket, for shedding light on such an important thing that is happening. A cultural phenomenon is happening right now. And right now I'm making a lot of content around the game of Dota. It's a very complex game. So just trying to educate people on the games that are a little different from first-person shooter games, which are like Counter-Strike and Valorant and Free Fire and BGMI, just to shift the focus on how gaming can also enhance your decision-making skills and other things. Dota is a wonderful game to learn all of that, and just trying to do my part for it.
Thank you so much, Gitesh. So next we have Ajay Sharma, also known as TG Fozi Ajay.
नमस्कार सभी को, मेरा नाम अजय शर्मा है। गेम में मुझे फौजी अजय के नाम से जानते हैं और मैं यहाँ पे जो आज आया हूँ वो हर एक उस प्लेयर की आवाज़ बन के आया हूँ जो स्पोर्ट्स कम्युनिटी में कुछ करना चाहता है, जो गेमिंग में कुछ अपने आप को इंडिया के लिए रिप्रेजेंट करना चाहता है। तो मैं छोटा इंट्रोडक्शन अपना दे देता हूँ। मैंने काफ़ी टूर्नामेंट्स जीत रखे हैं, चाहे वो इंडिया लेवल पे हो, एंड मुझे 2 बार आईजी ऑफ द ईयर अवार्ड मिला हुआ है। और इसके अलावा काफ़ी सारे जो चैंपियनशिप है वो हमने जीत के रखी हुई है। तो आज जो भी बात होगी, जो डिस्कशन होगा, मैं उस हर एक प्लेयर्स की, उस स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट की आवाज़ बन के बोलने वाला हूँ कि जो वो सपने देखता है इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करना या गेमिंग में कुछ करने के लिए, तो डेफिनेटली आज मैं उसकी आवाज़ बन के बात करूँगा यहाँ से।
Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining us. Also, I would like to summarize, Ajay, what he mentioned. So, if we talk about him, his achievements, it is enormous and it would take a day to define that. So, that is really inspiring for us. And for that, I would like to give him a huge round of applause from the audience. Please. Next, we have Mr. Mohammad Ayan.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Ayan and I am an esports manager been 6 years in the industry, and I serve as the head of esports operations at Lidoma Visions Esports, and I manage many titles, game titles, tournaments in many games across Asia. So thank you for this opportunity, and Aniket, thank you for the warm welcome.
Absolutely. So thank you all for being here. So let's start with Lokesh Suji. So with the Olympics esports game on the horizon, how do we bridge the gap between private publisher-led leagues and national medal pathways without creating a conflict of interest?
I think, yeah, so I forgot to mention that esports is now becoming part of Olympics also. So as a parent, obviously I'm sure all the youngsters would be very happy to know about that, but as a parent, do encourage your child, male, female, to kind of engage, and if they're already playing certain set of video games, do encourage them. Definitely there's a lot of potential. And looking at, the technology background which we have as India, we are known for it. And we are very confident that, till date we have got around 6 medals, but I'm very confident that, we'll be able to achieve those numbers like 30, 40, 50 medals in a
Exactly,
year.
yes.
Right. So, see, I think it is important for all of us first to understand that just playing a video game is not esports. Right. So, take for example, if you're playing Candy Crush, so that is not esports. So there are certain genres or genres of video games on which if you do a competition, then that competition on video games is what is called as esports. And second myth which I would like to debunk is that if you play Teen Patti, Rummy, poker, fantasy, all these things, so they fall under the category of gambling. So unfortunately, off late, till the time our government recognized and banned all those Teen Patti Rummy and new act came in. So even online gaming is not esports, because when you are online, even if you play Candy Crush, so you connect to internet and this thing, so that does not mean that you are involved into esports. Now, because it is in India also, it is recognized as a sport. And it is important that to understand also the difference between how is esports different from, let's say, a game like cricket. So cricket as a game, nobody owns it, right? Tomorrow, today, if you want to do a competition or a tournament, you are free to kind of do that. But when we talk about in the terms of a esports championship or an esports tournament, you are actually doing a tournament on a video game, which is a third-party property. Right? It's a third-party IP. So it is very important, and that is where typically, we all as a community, we keep on talking about this conflict of interest and everything. So there's a very thin line in the terms of balancing it out. But the reality today is that as far as India is concerned, we are still moving towards that. It is important that, as a federation and as a game publisher, we both should be working together. And thankfully, we've got excellent support in the terms of, the game publishers also. And like take for example, currently we are running the qualifiers for the Asian Games. We are doing the team selection for the Asian Game. So we get that kind of a support. Now it may be because it's a video game is a private property. Largely the interest revolves around that, what is the kind of a money as an organization you are making, profit and loss and everything. But I'm very happy to share that. Because as a game developer, if my game is getting included into Asian Games or Olympics, it is by default a massive marketing push and a free marketing push, if I may say so. So as a game developer, so they are also very happy, right? So today, so take for example, you mentioned about Asphalt, right? So in current version of Asian Games, we have a game called GT7, which is Gran Turismo 7, which is a Sony this thing. So now if some child or a teenager or anybody who's playing GT7, so, and typically, not like that it only happens in India, but worldwide also nobody, as a parent, nobody, appreciates their children playing video games. But now a child can go back and say that I'm playing GT7 because it's part of Asian Games. So a lot of that comfort comes to the parent. A parent is a person who is actually spending money, giving the child, getting him a PlayStation, or helping him buy a good internet or a game CD. So these are the advantages. So I think it's a win-win situation for both as a
Exactly.
and as the game publisher.
Yes. So thank you for educating our audience. That was really insightful. So talking about the Indian esports ecosystem, so even our company is focused on that to build a league on that scale, where Indian esports is not just fragmented esports or just a random gaming thing, but again, it is a structural framework. So under that, we focus on developing the popular leagues, right? So next we have Mr. Gitesh Singh. So I have a question for you on the evolution gap. That is, you have seen the WCG era, that is World Cyber Games, and the current era. So what is one thing players of the old guard had in terms of discipline that today's cloud-focused gamers are missing?
That is an important question you ask, Aniket. And if I were to say, not a lot in terms of the grit and passion that is required to make it big as a professional esports athlete. Like it's the same kind of grit and passion that is required even today. But a lot has changed in terms of what additionally an esports athlete needs to do. Back in our time, social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram were not as big. So the amount of reach that today's gamers have and the amount of involvement they need to and the kind of engagement they need to do on these platforms is much bigger. Back in our times, like it used to just be in our room, we are just playing a game, grinding all day, all night, like it's just non-stop practicing, and it's the same. But today, if you do not interact with that platform, you're losing out on a lot of scouting opportunities, because I think sir would agree, like there's a lot of scouting that goes around on these platforms. So everyone is seeking a well-rounded personality and not just an athlete right now. Even a Messi needs to go out and market himself, do a lot of marketing push for their own personal brand. So a personal brand is something that the people and gamers of today's age, they understand it better. And the more you embrace it, the better your chances of, like making it big is what I believe is happening today. So that would be my answer to the question.
That was absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. So next we have Mr. Ajay Sharma. So with the thousands of new creators entering monthly, what is that X factor that separates top tier creator from someone who just plays but never scales? Since you are a professional athlete, so this is a question for you, ki how it will help the player to get into the content creation part.
देखिए ये दो चीज़ में डिवाइड होता है. एक ई स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट, जो ई स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट होता है वो लाइक कंपटीशन, जो अपना गेम खेल रहा है, जिस टूर्नामेंट की तैयारी कर रहा है, उससे जो जीत रहा है उससे भी वो कमा रहा है. बट ये एक एज, एक वो होता है कि प्लेयर्स के जो रिफ्लेक्सेस होते हैं वो एक सर्टन टाइम तक चलते हैं, कि भाई 5 साल 6 साल तक एक प्लेयर, क्योंकि जो ग्राइंड के जो टाइम होता है कर पाना, वो हर प्लेयर अपने आप को पूरा टाइम नहीं दे पाता. और अगर हम बात करते हैं जो हमारा ये कंटेंट क्रिएशन वाला होता है, उसके अंदर अगर प्लेयर अपने गेमिंग के जो पिक पे चलता है, उसके साथ में कंटेंट क्रिएशन को फॉलो करता है, तो उसको काफ़ी ज़्यादा हेल्प होती है आगे चल के. लाइक वो जो भी बिल्ड कर रहा है अपने लेगेसी गेम, ब्रांड से डील करना, वो काफ़ी हेल्पफुल होती है वो चीज़ें. तो हाँ, हर एक क्रिएटर को जो स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट है उसको क्रिएटर बनने का ट्राई करना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये आपको आगे चल के एक बोल सकते हैं ना कि लाइफ में एक बैकअप प्लान होना चाहिए. आप जब तक स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट हैं, वेल डन, आप अच्छा अचीव कर रहे हैं, इंडिया के लिए खेल रहे हैं, इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, आप अपने फैमिली को प्राउड कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आप बैक एंड में अगर आप कंटेंट क्रिएशन को लेके चल रहे हैं और आप जब अच्छा खेल रहे हैं चैंपियनशिप में, तो आपका नाम ऑटोमेटिकली जो रहने वाला है, लोगों को ईजिली पहुँचने वाला है, और आपकी जो वैल्यू है वो ऑलरेडी डबल होने वाली है. तो डेफिनेटली उस चीज़ को लेकर चलना चाहिए. और हाँ, जो चैंपियंस रहते हैं या जो वो चीज़ रहती है वो बहुत जल्दी फेम पाते हैं, लेकिन मेहनत करने वालों को भी हार नहीं होती, वो चीज़ रहती है. ये सब जानते हैं हमारे मतलब इंडियन के अंदर कि कितना अभी जिस प्रकार से गेमिंग अभी बूम कर रहा है, कि पहले इतना सपोर्ट नहीं था गेमिंग को लेकर, लेकिन अब जिस प्रकार से गेमिंग आगे बढ़ते हुए जा रहा है, तो शायद कुछ टाइम में अलग अलग को देखने को मिलने वाला है. स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट को भी समझना पड़ेगा कि उनको दो तरीके से लेकर चलना है, गेमिंग को भी लेकर चलना है, साथ में कंटेंट क्रिएशन को साथ लेके ही चलना पड़ेगा.
So here we have Mr. Ajay, who is representing the Indian gaming community himself. He is one of the professional athletes, so that was really helpful for all the gamers who are seeing gaming as a career. So thank you, Mr. Ajay, for sharing your insights. So next we have Mohammed Ayan. So the question for you is, why do most leagues fail after one season? So is it a lack of sponsorship, or are we over-indexing on prize pool instead of production value?
See, Aniket, that's a very interesting question you've asked. So, as per my perspective, most leagues fail due to lack of long-term sponsorships. Nowadays, brands are very inconsistent for sponsoring in the esports, especially in the emerging leagues. That is the reason most of the leagues are getting failed nowadays. So, for leagues to survive long-term, we need stronger brand confidence and deeper industry partnerships.
Okay.
Can I punch in? Because I think that's a very good question. See, very honestly, when you look at different sports also, see, it is important that, see, there is no dearth of sponsorship, right? There are a lot of other sports leagues which are doing good. Though, as a federation, when we look at the leagues and all those things, so ये जानना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि वो लीग इसलिए सक्सेसफुल नहीं है कि वो स्पॉन्सर्स हैं, वो इसलिए सक्सेसफुल हैं कि वहाँ के जो एथलीट्स हैं, राइट, चाहे बैडमिंटन है, क्रिकेट की हम बात नहीं करते, क्रिकेट इज अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी ऑल टुगेदर. पर अगर हम डिफरेंट स्पोर्ट्स की बात करें, जैसे खो खो हो गया या कबड्डी हो गया, तो वहाँ पे जो हमारे प्लेयर्स हैं, बैडमिंटन है, राइट, चेस का आप देखिए जो है चल रहा है, राइट, पिकल बॉल फॉर दैट मैटर, तो ये इसलिए वो लीग्स उनकी सक्सेसफुल होंगी क्योंकि उनके जो चैंपियंस हैं, सॉरी जो एथलीट्स हैं, वो मेडल्स लेकर आ रहे हैं देश के लिए. तो ये समझना बहुत जरूरी है. सी प्लीज, आई एग्री दैट मनी सॉल्व्स लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, बट आई थिंक देखो आईपीएल भी या क्रिकेट भी इंडिया में इसलिए बड़ा हुआ था क्योंकि हमने 1982 में वी वन द वर्ल्ड कप, एंड दैट इज हाउ, एंड ऑब्वियसली कलर टीवी एंड दिस थिंग. बट वो चैंपियंस होना चाहिए. आईपीएल आज इसलिए सक्सेसफुल है क्योंकि टीम इंडिया जो है वो वी आर द बेस्ट.
Yeah, and sir, to that point, I must add that because of those medals coming, a lot of viewership increases.
Correct.
A lot of what esports as a challenge is facing is that not a lot of people watch it. There are big tournaments happening. Acer Predator League just happened recently, and the amount of viewership that we saw was lackluster to say.
अगर आप यही देखिए ना, जैसे अपने लीग ऑफ लेजेंड्स, सॉरी आई जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल फॉर लीग ऑफ लेजेंड्स, या चलो डोटा की भी बात करते हैं, तो सोहेल वगैरह हैं, राइट? सो जब सोहेल वगैरह खेलते हैं तो वो लोग लीग को देखने नहीं आते,
they come to watch the player.
to watch सोहेल, राइट? सिमिलरली अगर हम लीग ऑफ लेजेंड्स की बात करते हैं तो पीपल कम एंड वॉच ऑल दीज टॉप स्टार्स. तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो लीग बनाने से पहले आई वेरी ऑनेस्टली बिलीव दैट वी आर लाइक टू अर्ली टू टॉक अबाउट लीग्स फॉर ई स्पोर्ट्स. इट इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट दैट एनीबडी who wants to come on board with e-sport, they should focus on skills.
Absolutely.
हम इंडिया में जीत के it won't help. It is important that जब हम बाहर जा रहे हैं, जब हम देश को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, तो आप इंडिया में 5 करोड़ 10 करोड़ 50 करोड़ का इवेंट एक ई-स्पोर्ट्स का जीत कर आइए, एयरपोर्ट पे हो सकता है 10 20 50 लोग खड़े होंगे आपको रिसीव करने के लिए, पर एक मेडल आप ओलंपिक्स या एशियन उसमें गोल्ड लेकर आओगे, you will see the roads getting jammed. And that is exactly what happened in the case of Neeraj Chopra also.
And for an aspirational market like India, with the young people also becoming very aspirational, if we have a medal to back ourselves and esports, like it also makes them, like curious about, okay, this is one domain that we can also look into. So that would be very, very good.
So there will be one more question. So what would be one policy change needed by 2025 according to you? So this question is open for all. So anyone of you can answer this.
I mean, in terms of policy change, the government already is very pro orange economy and the creators economy, and a lot of centers are going to be opened up to create the next generation of content creators and gamers as such. But a lot of grassroots level disruption is what I feel is required in this movement. A lot of participation, especially because esports is another thing. First, we need to do away with the stigma surrounding gaming in general. Gaming is still, if you go to any household in India, like people are still very stigmatized. Like parents are not very, supportive of their kids spending 8 hours playing a game. Now, the same kid, if he is to go out and play cricket for 8 hours, they see the scope, the kind of growth that awaits them. But for a game, they cannot see that because it hasn't been established in a country like ours. Elsewhere in Europe, if you go, there are people who encourage their kids to, do that. But for that, we need a very grassroots level disruption.
Thank you, Mr. Gitesh, for sharing that. And coming to this, the Indian gaming market is a fact, but Indian gaming power is a choice. So we have veterans, the creators, and the operators, and the policymakers. The roadmap to 2030 is no longer about playing on borrowed tools, but it's about next in gaming. Thank you for being the transitor builders. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So much for that session. As I said, it was a highly anticipated session. Hope you have, for those of you who don't know much about gaming, understood the world of gaming, and for those of you, of course, who love gaming, hope you've learnt some new aspects of this industry. All right, now joining us next, of course, to delve into the Next in Tech segment, we have another special panel lined up. The future of soft tech and hard tech is going to be the focus of our next session. The theme, of course, is Next in Technology. We have with us for this session Mr. Arjun Bajaj, Director, Videotex. Could we please have you on stage? Arjun Bajaj, welcome to NXT 2026. Also joining us for this session is Dean of Global Business at the Fletcher School, Tufts University, Professor Bhaskar Chakravarti. Welcome back to the NXT stage, Professor Chakravarti. And this time, Professor Chakrabarti is going to be donning the moderator's hat. So I hand the floor over to you for this segment.
Okay, Arjun, what a pleasure to meet you, and what a pleasure to bring this conference almost to a close. 3 exciting days, very dynamic days, and we're going to go out with a bang.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Absolutely. So our topic for today is the future of tech broadly writ, but the future of hard tech and soft tech. We'll get a chance to talk about both, but first of all, Arjun Bajaj is the director of Videotex International. You've been part of the origin of Videotex, and perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the company, which of course has a gigantic footprint in the television market in India. It is the largest, I understand, the largest OEM and ODM in India for other brands, but perhaps you can tell us a bit more about the history of the company and how it has evolved since its founding.
Right. Thank you so much to the NXT team for having me here and having you as my moderator. So I'll tell you a brief about our company. Videotex is now 4 decades old. So we have, in fact, we are 42 years young now, as I would say. And we are one of the oldest companies to have transformed from the era of the black and white TVs to the era of, say, mini LED TVs today. So you can say Videotex is the only company who's evolved from the black and white era to the colored TV era to the plasma, LCD, and the LED TV segment that we are. So I am actually a 3rd generation if I talk about the overall structure of the company, but 2nd generation when it comes to manufacturing, because the 1st generation, which was my grandfather, they were into the hardcore distribution of televisions. But when my father came in, he decided that no, not distribution, but I think the future is about manufacturing. And so when I was born, of course, I was always put in my mind that, okay, manufacturing is the way to go. And so that's how my education, and that's why my focus has always been into manufacturing as well. So Videotex now is into a complete backward integration setup, and we are manufacturing about 7 to 8 sizes of TVs, and we are one of the only companies who have a large network, or I would say a large portfolio of operating systems that are available. So be it LG's WebOS TV operating system or Samsung's Tizen OS, Google TV, and we have the rights for all of these operating systems which are embedded in the hardware that we are making. And so we have 2 manufacturing units here in India which are based out of Greater Noida. So the Make in India initiative, which was started by our Prime Minister over